Welcome to a peaceful journey through the wonders of science. Let your mind drift as we explore the incredible facts about our universe, our world, and the nature of reality itself. Settle into a comfortable position, take a deep breath, and allow these gentle discoveries to carry you into a restful sleep. The human body contains approximately 37 trillion cells, and each one of these microscopic units carries out thousands of chemical reactions every single second. Your body right now, as you listen to these words, is performing more calculations and processes than all the computers on Earth combined. This remarkable biological machinery operates without any conscious effort on your part, keeping you alive and healthy while you rest. Deep in the Pacific Ocean, there exists a place called the Mariana Trench, which descends nearly 11 kilometers below the surface of the sea. If you were to place Mount Everest at the bottom of this trench, its peak would still be more than 2 kilometers underwater. The pressure at these depths is over 1,000 times greater than at the surface, yet life persists even here. Strange creatures with bioluminescent bodies drift through the eternal darkness, creating their own light in a world that has never known the sun. Light travels at approximately 300,000 kilometers per second, a speed so fast that it could circle the Earth more than 7 times in a single heartbeat. Yet even at this incredible velocity, light from the nearest star beyond our sun, Proxima Centauri, takes over 4 years to reach us. When you gaze at the night sky, you are looking back in time, seeing stars as they were years, centuries, or even millennia ago. The element gold that adorns jewelry and fills bank vaults was not created on Earth. Every atom of gold in existence was forged in the violent collision of neutron stars, the collapsed cores of dead suns. These cataclysmic events scatter precious metals across the cosmos, eventually becoming part of the dust clouds that form new solar systems. The gold in your wedding ring was once part of a dying star. Your brain consumes approximately 20% of your body's total energy, despite making up only about 2% of your body weight. This 3-pound organ contains roughly 86 billion neurons, each connected to thousands of others through a network of synapses that would stretch for hundreds of thousands of kilometers if laid end to end. Every thought you have, every memory you recall, every dream you experience is the result of electrical signals dancing through this impossibly complex web. Water is one of the few substances on Earth that expands when it freezes. This seemingly simple property has profound consequences for life on our planet. Because ice is less dense than liquid water, it floats on the surface of lakes and oceans during winter, insulating the water below and allowing aquatic life to survive. Without this peculiar behavior of water molecules, lakes would freeze solid from the bottom up, making life in temperate climates nearly impossible. The Amazon rainforest produces approximately 20% of the world's oxygen through photosynthesis. However, it also consumes nearly all of this oxygen through the respiration of its countless organisms and the decomposition of organic matter. The true lungs of our planet are actually found in the oceans, where tiny organisms called phytoplankton generate between 50 and 80% of Earth's oxygen supply. A teaspoon of neutron star material would weigh approximately 6 billion tons. Neutron stars are the collapsed remnants of massive stars that have exploded as supernovae. The matter within them is compressed so tightly that the space between atoms is eliminated entirely, creating a substance so dense that it defies imagination. A sugar cube of this material would outweigh every car on Earth. The human eye can distinguish between approximately 10 million different colors. This remarkable ability is made possible by 3 types of cone cells in your retina, each sensitive to different wavelengths of light corresponding to red, green, and blue. Your brain combines the signals from these cells to create the rich tapestry of color that you experience every day. Some women possess a 4th type of cone cell, potentially allowing them to perceive up to 100 million distinct colors. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists have discovered 3,000-year-old honey in Egyptian tombs that was still perfectly edible. This remarkable preservation occurs because honey has an extremely low moisture content and high sugar concentration, creating an environment where bacteria cannot survive. Additionally, bees add an enzyme called glucose oxidase to honey, which produces small amounts of hydrogen peroxide, further preventing microbial growth. The longest living organism on Earth is not an animal or a plant in the traditional sense, but a massive fungal network in Oregon's Blue Mountains. This organism, known as the humongous fungus, covers approximately 10 square kilometers and is estimated to be between 2,000 and 8,000 years old. Most of its body exists underground as a vast network of thread-like structures called mycelium, silently breaking down organic matter and cycling nutrients through the forest ecosystem. Sound cannot travel through the vacuum of space because there are no particles to carry the vibrations. If you were floating in space without a helmet and someone shouted right next to you, you would hear nothing at all. The dramatic explosions in science fiction films would be completely silent in reality. Astronauts on spacewalks communicate through radio waves, which are a form of electromagnetic radiation and do not require a medium to propagate. The Sun loses approximately 4 million tons of mass every second through the process of nuclear fusion. Hydrogen atoms in the Sun's core fuse together to form helium, releasing enormous amounts of energy in the process. A tiny fraction of the mass involved in these reactions is converted directly into energy, according to Einstein's famous equation relating energy and mass. Despite this staggering rate of mass loss, the Sun is so enormous that it will continue to shine for another 5 billion years. Octopuses have 3 hearts and blue blood. 2 of their hearts pump blood to their gills, while the third pumps it to the rest of their body. Their blood contains copper-based hemocyanin rather than the iron-based hemoglobin found in human blood, which gives it a distinctive blue color. This adaptation makes their blood more efficient at transporting oxygen in the cold, low-oxygen environments of the deep ocean. The Great Wall of China is not visible from space with the naked eye, contrary to popular belief. The wall is only about 6 meters wide at its broadest point, far too narrow to be distinguished from orbit. What can be seen from space are large human constructions such as cities, major highways, and airports, which show up clearly in photographs taken from the International Space Station. A single bolt of lightning contains enough energy to toast approximately 100,000 slices of bread. Lightning reaches temperatures of about 30,000 degrees Celsius, which is roughly 5 times hotter than the surface of the Sun. Despite this intense heat, the brief duration of a lightning strike means that the total energy released is relatively modest compared to other natural phenomena. The human stomach produces a new layer of mucus every 2 weeks to protect itself from its own digestive acids. Without this protective coating, the hydrochloric acid in your stomach would begin to digest the stomach itself. This constant renewal process is just one example of the remarkable self-maintenance that your body performs without any conscious input from you. Bananas are naturally radioactive due to their high potassium content. A small percentage of all potassium atoms are the radioactive isotope potassium-40. However, the radiation from eating a banana is far too low to cause any harm. You would need to eat approximately 10 million bananas in a single sitting to receive a lethal dose of radiation, a feat that is physically impossible for many obvious reasons. The fastest wind speed ever recorded on Earth was 512 kilometers per hour during a tornado in Oklahoma in 1999. This wind was powerful enough to strip pavement from roads and reduce houses to their foundations in seconds. Yet even this extreme weather pales in comparison to the winds on Neptune, which can exceed 2,000 kilometers per hour. Diamonds are not actually rare. They are, in fact, one of the most common gemstones found in nature. The perception of rarity has been carefully cultivated through controlled release of diamonds into the market and decades of marketing. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, diamonds exist in quantities that would crash their value overnight if they were ever fully extracted. The average human body contains enough iron to make a nail approximately 7 centimeters long. This iron is distributed throughout your body, primarily in your red blood cells where it forms the core of hemoglobin molecules. Without this iron, your blood could not transport oxygen from your lungs to your tissues, and life would be impossible. Tardigrades, also known as water bears, can survive conditions that would instantly kill any other known life form. These microscopic creatures can withstand temperatures close to absolute zero and as high as 150 degrees Celsius. They can survive the vacuum of space, pressures 6 times greater than the deepest ocean trenches, and radiation levels hundreds of times the lethal dose for humans. When conditions become unfavorable, they enter a state called cryptobiosis, essentially shutting down all metabolic processes until conditions improve. The deepest hole ever drilled by humans is the Kola superdeep borehole in Russia, which reaches a depth of 12 kilometers. At this depth, temperatures exceed 180 degrees Celsius, making further drilling impractical. Despite this impressive achievement, the hole penetrated only about 1/3 of the distance to Earth's center. Your bones are about 5 times stronger than steel of the same density. A cubic inch of bone can withstand loads of approximately 8,600 kilograms, roughly the weight of 5 pickup trucks. This remarkable strength comes from the combination of hard mineral crystals and flexible collagen fibers, creating a composite material that is both rigid and resistant to fracture. The International Space Station travels at approximately 28,000 kilometers per hour, completing one orbit around Earth every 90 minutes. Astronauts aboard the station experience 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets every 24 hours. The station has been continuously occupied since November 2000, making it the longest continuous human presence in space in history. Venus rotates so slowly that a single day on Venus is longer than a Venusian year. It takes Venus 243 Earth days to complete one rotation on its axis, but only 225 Earth days to orbit the Sun. Additionally, Venus rotates in the opposite direction to most planets, so if you could stand on its surface, you would see the Sun rise in the west and set in the east. The human nose can detect over 1 trillion different scents. This incredible sensitivity comes from approximately 400 different types of olfactory receptors in your nasal cavity. Each receptor can be activated by multiple different molecules, and the combination of activated receptors creates a unique pattern that your brain interprets as a specific smell. Coral reefs occupy less than 1% of the ocean floor, but support approximately 25% of all marine species. These diverse ecosystems are built by tiny organisms called coral polyps, which secrete calcium carbonate to form hard skeletons. Over thousands of years, the accumulated skeletons of countless generations of polyps create the massive reef structures we see today. The element astatine is so rare that there are estimated to be less than 30 grams of it in the entire Earth's crust at any given moment. It is produced naturally through the radioactive decay of uranium and thorium, but it decays so quickly that it never accumulates in significant quantities. Scientists have only ever produced tiny amounts in particle accelerators. A cloud can weigh more than 1 million pounds. Despite appearing fluffy and weightless, the average cumulus cloud contains approximately 500 million grams of water distributed among billions of tiny droplets. The reason clouds float is not because they are light, but because the upward force of rising warm air exceeds the downward force of gravity on the widely dispersed water droplets. The longest echo ever recorded lasted 75 seconds in a fuel depot in Scotland. The concrete bunker was designed to store fuel during World War II, and its unique acoustics allow sounds to reverberate for over a minute. This is more than 15 times longer than the previous record holder. Human DNA is approximately 98.4% identical to chimpanzee DNA. This close genetic relationship reflects our shared evolutionary history. If you could read through your entire genome letter by letter at a rate of 1 letter per second, it would take you approximately 96 years to finish. The largest known star, Scuti, has a radius approximately 1,700 times that of our Sun. If placed at the center of our solar system, its surface would extend beyond the orbit of Jupiter. Yet despite its enormous size, Scuti has only about 30 times the mass of the Sun, making it incredibly diffuse compared to our own star. Sharks have been on Earth for longer than trees. The first sharks appeared in the oceans approximately 450 million years ago, while the first true trees evolved about 350 million years ago. Sharks predate dinosaurs by over 200 million years and have survived 5 mass extinction events. The coldest temperature ever recorded in a laboratory was 100 picokelvins, or 100 trillionths of a degree above absolute zero. At these temperatures, atoms move so slowly that they exhibit quantum behavior visible at macroscopic scales. Scientists achieved this temperature using a combination of laser cooling and magnetic manipulation. A single human cell contains approximately 6 feet of DNA coiled tightly within its nucleus. If you could stretch out all the DNA from all the cells in your body and lay it end to end, it would reach from Earth to the Sun and back approximately 600 times. Despite this enormous length, your entire genetic code fits within structures far too small to see without a microscope. The shortest war in recorded history lasted between 38 and 45 minutes. It was fought between Britain and Zanzibar on August 27, 1896. The conflict began when the Sultan of Zanzibar refused to step down and ended when British naval bombardment destroyed his palace. Butterflies taste with their feet. They have taste sensors called chemoreceptors located on their legs that allow them to sample plants simply by landing on them. This adaptation helps them quickly identify suitable host plants for laying their eggs without wasting energy on extensive investigation. The total weight of all ants on Earth approximately equals the total weight of all humans. Despite individual ants weighing only 1 to 2 milligrams on average, their sheer numbers compensate for their tiny size. Scientists estimate there are approximately 10,000 trillion ants on Earth, compared to 8 billion humans. Glass is actually a liquid that flows extremely slowly. Over centuries, glass will sag and deform under its own weight. This is why the windows in very old buildings are sometimes thicker at the bottom than at the top, though this effect is often exaggerated in popular accounts. The Amazon River discharges more water into the ocean than the next 7 largest rivers combined. During the wet season, it releases approximately 209,000 cubic meters of water per second into the Atlantic Ocean. This massive flow creates a freshwater plume that can be detected hundreds of kilometers out to sea. Your brain uses approximately 20 watts of power, roughly equivalent to a dim light bulb. Despite this modest energy consumption, your brain is capable of computations that would require supercomputers consuming megawatts of power to replicate. The efficiency of biological neural networks remains unmatched by any artificial system yet created. The longest cave system in the world is Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, with over 650 kilometers of explored passages. Explorers continue to discover new sections regularly, and the true extent of the system remains unknown. The cave was formed over millions of years as slightly acidic groundwater dissolved the limestone bedrock. A jiffy is an actual unit of time, defined as 1/100th of a second. The term was coined by Gilbert Newton Lewis, the physical chemist who also gave us the concept of the covalent bond. In computer science, a jiffy often refers to the duration of 1 tick of the system timer interrupt. The fingerprints of koalas are so similar to human fingerprints that they have occasionally confused forensic investigators at crime scenes. This similarity is an example of convergent evolution, where similar environmental pressures lead to the development of similar traits in unrelated species. 1 year on Mercury is shorter than 1 Mercury day. The planet takes approximately 88 Earth days to orbit the Sun, but 176 Earth days to complete a single rotation on its axis. This means a person standing on Mercury would experience only 1 day for every 2 years that passed. The pressure at the center of the Earth is approximately 360 gigapascals, which is over 3 million times the atmospheric pressure at sea level. At these extreme conditions, iron exists in a solid crystalline form despite temperatures exceeding 5,000 degrees Celsius. The immense pressure keeps the atoms locked in place. Hummingbirds are the only birds that can fly backwards. Their unique shoulder joint allows their wings to rotate in a full circle, enabling them to hover in place, fly forwards, backwards, and even upside down. Their wings beat between 50 and 80 times per second during normal flight. The first email was sent in 1971 by Ray Tomlinson. He sent the message to himself as a test and later admitted that the content was something forgettable, like a random string of letters. Tomlinson chose the @ symbol to separate the user name from the computer name, a convention still used today. A day on Mars is only slightly longer than a day on Earth, lasting approximately 24 hours and 37 minutes. This similarity has made Mars a prime candidate for human colonization, as settlers would not have to adapt to dramatically different day-night cycles. However, the Martian year is nearly twice as long as an Earth year. The smell of rain has a name. It is called petrichor, a term coined in 1964 by Australian researchers. The scent is created when rain falls on dry soil, releasing oils secreted by certain plants and a compound called geosmin produced by soil bacteria. Black holes are not actually black. They emit a faint glow of thermal radiation called Hawking radiation, named after the physicist Stephen Hawking, who predicted its existence. This radiation causes black holes to slowly lose mass over time, eventually evaporating completely, though this process takes far longer than the current age of the universe for stellar mass black holes. The longest lightning bolt ever recorded stretched over 768 kilometers across 3 states in the United States. This megaflash occurred on April 29, 2020, crossing parts of Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. It lasted approximately 1 seconds from start to finish. Honeybees can recognize human faces. Research has shown that bees can be trained to associate specific human faces with sweet rewards, and they can remember these faces for at least 2 days. Their small brains accomplish this task using a technique similar to how humans recognize faces, breaking them down into component parts. The Eiffel Tower can grow up to 15 centimeters taller during summer months. This happens because heat causes the iron to expand. The tower also leans slightly away from the sun as the side facing the sun heats up and expands more than the shaded side. Platypuses are one of only 5 species of mammals that lay eggs. They also produce venom, have electroreceptors in their bills that can detect the electrical fields generated by their prey, and males have venomous spurs on their hind legs. Their bizarre combination of features once led scientists to believe the first specimens were elaborate hoaxes. A bolt from a lightning storm contains enough energy to power a 60-watt light bulb for approximately 6 months. However, capturing and storing this energy remains impractical due to the unpredictability of lightning and the technical challenges of handling such brief, intense power surges. The Great Pyramid of Giza was the tallest human-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years. Standing at approximately 146 meters, when completed around 2560 BCE, it was not surpassed until the construction of Lincoln Cathedral in England around 1311 CE. Your heart will beat approximately 3 billion times over the course of your lifetime. Each beat pumps roughly 70 milliliters of blood through your body, meaning your heart will move approximately 200 million liters of blood during an average lifespan. This tireless muscle rarely rests for more than a fraction of a second. The largest known prime number, as of recent records, contains over 24 million digits. If you were to print this number in standard 12-point font, it would fill over 9,000 pages. Mathematicians continue to search for ever larger prime numbers using distributed computing projects that harness the processing power of thousands of volunteers' computers. The human eye blinks an average of 15 to 20 times per minute. This means you blink approximately 28,000 times per day. Each blink lasts about 100 to 150 milliseconds, meaning you spend roughly 10% of your waking hours with your eyes closed due to blinking alone. Saturn would float if you could find a body of water large enough to place it in. With a density of only about 687 grams per cubic centimeter, Saturn is less dense than water. Of course, finding an ocean large enough to accommodate a planet over 116,000 kilometers in diameter presents certain logistical challenges. The speed of sound varies depending on the medium through which it travels. In air at sea level, sound travels at approximately 343 meters per second. In water, it moves at about 1,500 meters per second. In steel, sound can reach speeds of over 5,000 meters per second. There are more possible iterations of a game of chess than there are atoms in the observable universe. The Shannon number, which estimates the number of possible chess games, is approximately 10 to the 120th power. In comparison, the observable universe contains roughly 10 to the 80th atoms. Sloths can hold their breath longer than dolphins. While dolphins typically hold their breath for about 10 minutes when diving, sloths can slow their heart rate enough to hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. This adaptation helps them survive flooding in their rainforest habitats. The shortest commercial flight in the world lasts approximately 90 seconds. It connects the islands of Westray and Papa Westray in Scotland, covering a distance of just 27 kilometers. On a windy day, the flight can take as little as 47 seconds. Babies have about 300 bones at birth, but adults have only 206. This reduction occurs because many bones fuse together as we grow. The skull alone starts as several separate bones that gradually merge, which is why babies have soft spots on their heads. The longest word in the English language without a vowel is rhythms, at 7 letters. If we consider words that use Y as a vowel substitute, the word becomes significantly shorter. CRWTH, a Welsh stringed instrument, uses no vowels at all by any definition, though it is borrowed from Welsh. Cows have best friends and become stressed when separated from them. Research has shown that cows form strong social bonds and experience measurable increases in heart rate when isolated from their preferred companions. They also learn faster and produce more milk when housed with their friends. The moon is slowly drifting away from Earth at a rate of approximately 3.8 centimeters per year. This movement is caused by tidal interactions between Earth and the moon. Billions of years ago, the moon was much closer and appeared much larger in the sky, and the Earth's day was only about 6 hours long. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. These social birds gather in groups that can number in the hundreds of thousands. Their distinctive pink color comes from the beta-carotene in their diet of brine shrimp and blue-green algae. The average person will spend approximately 6 months of their lifetime waiting for red lights to turn green. This statistic varies considerably based on where you live and how much you drive, but it serves as a reminder of how much of our lives is spent in transit. Elephants are the only animals that cannot jump. Their massive body weight, combined with the structure of their legs, makes it physically impossible for them to get all 4 feet off the ground simultaneously. However, elephants can run at speeds of up to 40 kilometers per hour. The total length of blood vessels in an adult human body would stretch approximately 100,000 kilometers, enough to circle the Earth more than twice. Most of these are capillaries, the tiny vessels where oxygen and nutrients are exchanged with your tissues. Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system, with surface temperatures reaching approximately 475 degrees Celsius. Despite Mercury being closer to the Sun, Venus's thick atmosphere of carbon dioxide creates an extreme greenhouse effect that traps heat far more efficiently than Mercury's nearly non-existent atmosphere. A cockroach can live for several weeks without its head. It dies not from the loss of its brain, which does not control many of its basic functions, but from dehydration because it cannot drink water without its mouth. Cockroaches breathe through spiracles on their body segments, so decapitation does not affect their respiration. The longest recorded flight of a chicken is 13 seconds. Chickens are not built for sustained flight, but they can flutter short distances to escape predators or reach roosting spots. Their wings are relatively small compared to their body weight, making extended flight impossible. Polar bear fur is not white. Each hair is actually transparent and hollow. The fur appears white because the hollow hairs scatter and reflect visible light, much like snow does. Beneath their fur, polar bear skin is actually black, which helps absorb heat from the sun. The longest hiccuping spree on record lasted 68 years. Charles Osborne of Iowa began hiccuping in 1922 and did not stop until 1990. He hiccuped approximately 430 million times during this period. The hiccups finally stopped about a year before his death at age 97. A newborn kangaroo is approximately the size of a lima bean. At birth, joeys are blind, hairless, and extremely underdeveloped. They must crawl through their mother's fur to reach the pouch, where they continue to develop for several more months before venturing out into the world. The coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth was -89.2 degrees Celsius at Antarctica's Vostok Station on July 21, 1983. At such temperatures, boiling water thrown into the air will freeze before it hits the ground, creating a spectacular cloud of ice crystals. Humans share approximately 50% of their DNA with bananas. This surprising fact reflects the common ancestry of all life on Earth. The genes we share with bananas are primarily those that code for basic cellular functions that all living things require. The largest snowflake ever recorded was approximately 38 centimeters wide and 20 centimeters thick. It fell at Fort Keogh, Montana, on January 28, 1887. Most snowflakes measure between 1 and 5 millimeters in diameter. A chameleon's tongue can accelerate faster than a jet fighter. It can reach its target in approximately 0.7 seconds, accelerating from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 1/100th of a second. This incredible speed helps chameleons catch insects before they can escape. The Sahara Desert is expanding at a rate of approximately 48 kilometers per year toward the south. This expansion is driven by a combination of climate change and human activities, such as overgrazing and deforestation. The desert now covers an area roughly equal to the size of the United States. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on all of Earth's beaches. Current estimates suggest there are approximately 200 billion trillion stars in the observable universe. Meanwhile, Earth's beaches contain roughly 7.5 billion grains of sand. Bamboo is the fastest growing plant on Earth, capable of growing up to 91 centimeters in a single day under optimal conditions. This rapid growth rate is due to the plant's unique cellular structure, which allows it to elongate without building thick cell walls first. The longest recorded lifespan of a goldfish was 43 years. A fish named Tish was won at a fairground in England in 1956 and lived until 1999. Most goldfish in home aquariums live much shorter lives due to inadequate care and small tanks. A sneeze travels at approximately 160 kilometers per hour. The rapid expulsion of air helps clear irritants from your nasal passages. Sneezes also release approximately 40,000 droplets, which is why covering your nose and mouth when sneezing is so important for preventing the spread of illness. The Mona Lisa has no eyebrows. Some historians believe Leonardo da Vinci originally painted them, but they were accidentally removed during an overzealous cleaning. Others suggest that the fashion of the time favored shaved eyebrows among wealthy Florentine women. An ostrich's eye is bigger than its brain. Their eyes measure approximately 5 centimeters in diameter, making them the largest eyes of any land animal. Despite their small brains, ostriches have excellent vision, which helps them spot predators on the African savanna. The inventor of the Pringles can is buried in one. Frederick Bohr designed the iconic cylindrical container and was so proud of his creation that he requested his ashes be buried in a Pringles can after his death in 2008. Dolphins sleep with one eye open. They must remain partially conscious to continue breathing and watch for predators. This is accomplished by allowing one half of their brain to sleep while the other half remains alert. They switch which half is asleep roughly every 2 hours. The longest time between two twins being born is 87 days. The first twin was born prematurely in 2012, and doctors were able to delay the birth of the second twin by keeping the mother on bed rest and administering medications to prevent further contractions. A single strand of spider silk is 5 times stronger than a steel wire of the same thickness. If you could create a spider silk rope just 2 centimeters in diameter, it would be strong enough to stop a Boeing 747 in flight. Scientists are working on methods to produce synthetic spider silk for various applications. There are approximately 70,000 thoughts that cross the average person's mind each day. Many of these are repetitive or mundane, but this constant mental activity accounts for the significant energy consumption of your brain. The wavelength of visible light ranges from approximately 400 to 700 nanometers. Violet light has the shortest wavelength we can see, while red has the longest. Beyond these limits lie ultraviolet and infrared radiation, which some animals can detect but humans cannot. A blue whale's heart is approximately the size of a small car and weighs about 400 kilograms. It beats only 4 to 8 times per minute when the whale is diving. The aorta is large enough for a human child to crawl through. The deepest point in any ocean is the Challenger Deep in the Mariana Trench, reaching a depth of approximately 10,916 meters. Only 4 people have ever traveled to this depth. The pressure there is approximately 1,000 times greater than at the surface. Honey is the only food that never spoils and includes all the substances necessary to sustain life, including water. Ancient Egyptians used honey as a wound treatment, taking advantage of its antibacterial properties. Bees must visit approximately 2 million flowers to produce just 1 pound of honey. The temperature at the core of the sun is approximately 15 million degrees Celsius. At this temperature, hydrogen atoms move so fast that they collide with enough force to fuse into helium, releasing enormous amounts of energy in the process. A person cannot hum while holding their nose closed. Try it if you like. Humming requires air to pass through your nasal passages to create the sound. With your nose blocked, the air has nowhere to go. The longest living cells in your body are memory cells, which can persist for your entire lifetime. They form the basis of your immune system's ability to remember pathogens you have encountered before. Some neurons in your brain also last a lifetime, though most other cells are regularly replaced. A single lightning strike can heat the air around it to temperatures 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This rapid heating causes the air to expand explosively, creating the sound we know as thunder. Because light travels faster than sound, we always see lightning before we hear its thunder. Butterflies cannot fly if their body temperature falls below approximately 29 degrees Celsius. They are ectothermic creatures that rely on external heat sources to regulate their body temperature. On cool mornings, you can often see butterflies basking in the sun with their wings spread to absorb heat. The average person walks approximately 115,000 kilometers in their lifetime. This is equivalent to walking around the Earth nearly 3 times. Most of this walking is done during routine daily activities rather than deliberate exercise. The smallest bone in the human body is the stapes, located in the middle ear. It measures approximately 3 millimeters in length and plays a crucial role in transmitting sound vibrations from the eardrum to the inner ear. Without it, you would not be able to hear. Octopuses have 9 brains. One central brain controls their nervous system, while 8 smaller brains in each arm can operate independently to control movement. This distributed intelligence allows their arms to explore and manipulate objects without direct input from the central brain. The sun accounts for approximately 99.86% of the total mass of our solar system. Jupiter, the largest planet, accounts for most of the remaining mass. Earth and all the other terrestrial planets together make up only a tiny fraction of the solar system's total mass. A group of porcupines is called a prickle. These rodents are covered in approximately 30,000 quills, which are actually modified hairs coated with keratin. Contrary to popular belief, porcupines cannot shoot their quills, but the quills detach easily when touched. The longest river in the world is generally considered to be the Nile, stretching approximately 6,650 kilometers from its source in Burundi to its delta in Egypt. However, some measurements suggest the Amazon may be longer when its most distant tributaries are included. A human could swim through the arteries of a blue whale. The Yorta alone is large enough to accommodate a human body. Blue whales are the largest animals ever known to have existed on Earth, reaching lengths of up to 30 meters and weights of up to 173 tons. The shortest verse in the King James Bible is 2 words long. It appears in John chapter 11, verse 35, and simply reads, "Jesus wept." This verse has been memorized by countless people due to its brevity. Astronauts grow up to 5 centimeters taller in space. Without the compressive force of gravity, the spine expands as the fluid-filled discs between vertebrae absorb more water. This effect is temporary, and astronauts return to their normal height within a few weeks of returning to Earth. The first computer programmer was a woman named Ada Lovelace. Working with Charles Babbage in the 19th century, she wrote what is considered the first algorithm intended to be processed by a machine. The programming language Ada was later named in her honor. A mosquito has 47 teeth. These are not true teeth like mammals have, but rather sharp protrusions on the proboscis that help pierce skin. Only female mosquitoes bite, as they need blood proteins to produce eggs. The average person will shed approximately 40 pounds of skin in their lifetime. Dead skin cells constantly flake off and are replaced by new cells from deeper layers. This continuous renewal process takes approximately 2 to 4 weeks to completely replace the outer layer of skin. The fastest muscle in the human body is the orbicularis oculi, which allows you to blink. A single blink takes approximately 100 to 150 milliseconds to complete. This rapid movement helps spread tears across your eyes and protect them from debris and bright light. Cats have over 20 vocalizations, including the meow, purr, chirp, trill, and hiss. Interestingly, adult cats rarely meow at each other. They developed this vocalization primarily to communicate with humans, adapting their behavior to our presence over thousands of years of domestication. The rotation of the Earth is gradually slowing down. Days are getting longer by approximately 14 milliseconds per century due to tidal friction caused by the Moon's gravitational pull. 600 million years ago, a day on Earth lasted only about 22 hours. There are approximately 250,000 species of flowering plants on Earth. They evolved relatively recently in geological terms, appearing during the Cretaceous period around 130 million years ago. Their development is closely linked to the evolution of pollinating insects. A human hair can support approximately 100 grams of weight. A full head of hair could theoretically support the weight of 2 elephants, though the scalp itself would not withstand such force. Hair gets its strength from the protein keratin, which also forms fingernails and animal hooves. The Pacific Ocean contains more than half of all the free water on Earth. It covers approximately 165 million square kilometers, more than all of Earth's landmass combined. At its widest point, the Pacific spans nearly 20,000 kilometers. Helium is the only element that was discovered in space before it was found on Earth. In 1868, astronomers observed an unknown yellow spectral line during a solar eclipse. The element was named after Helios, the Greek god of the sun. It was not isolated on Earth until 1895. The fastest recorded tennis serve was approximately 263 kilometers per hour. At this speed, the ball reaches the opponent in approximately 400 milliseconds, barely enough time for a human to react. Professional players must rely heavily on anticipation to return such serves. A caterpillar has more muscles than a human. While humans have approximately 650 muscles, a caterpillar has about 4,000, most of which are used to control its many body segments. This muscular complexity allows caterpillars to move in their characteristic undulating motion. The oldest known recipe is for beer. A Sumerian poem dating back to 1800 BCE contains a hymn to Ninkasi, the goddess of brewing, that describes the process of making beer from barley bread. Beer was a staple of ancient Mesopotamian diets and was often safer to drink than water. Owls cannot move their eyeballs. Their eyes are tubular rather than spherical and are held in place by bony structures called sclerotic rings. To compensate for this limitation, owls can rotate their heads up to 270 degrees in either direction. The Great Wall of China was built over approximately 2,000 years by multiple dynasties. If you were to walk its entire length, including all branches and secondary sections, you would cover approximately 21,000 kilometers. The wall stretches across mountains, deserts, and grasslands. A cubic centimeter of neutron star material weighs approximately 600 million tons. This extraordinary density is achieved because all the electrons have been crushed into the protons, forming neutrons that are packed together with no space between them. The human brain is approximately 75% water. Dehydration can significantly affect cognitive function, mood, and energy levels. Even mild dehydration of just 1 to 2% can impair concentration and short-term memory. Redwood trees can live for over 2,000 years. The oldest known redwood was approximately 2,200 years old when it was cut down. These giant trees can reach heights of over 100 meters and diameters of 8 meters at the base. A day on Pluto lasts 6.4 Earth days. The dwarf planet rotates very slowly compared to Earth. Additionally, Pluto's orbit is so elliptical that during part of its year, it actually comes closer to the Sun than Neptune. The first oranges were actually green. The original oranges from Southeast Asia were a tangerine pomelo hybrid that was green when ripe. The familiar orange color developed through selective breeding as the fruit was cultivated in different climates. Blood makes up approximately 7% of your total body weight. An average adult has about 5 liters of blood circulating through their body at any given time. Your heart pumps this entire volume through your circulatory system approximately once every minute. The longest mountain range on Earth is actually underwater. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge stretches approximately 16,000 kilometers from the Arctic Ocean to the southern tip of Africa. This underwater mountain chain marks the boundary where tectonic plates are pulling apart. A hummingbird's heart beats approximately 1,200 times per minute during flight. To fuel this intense activity, hummingbirds must consume approximately half their body weight in nectar every day. They visit hundreds of flowers daily to meet this requirement. The strongest material ever created by humans is graphene. This single layer of carbon atoms arranged in a hexagonal lattice is about 200 times stronger than steel while being incredibly light and flexible. It was first isolated in 2004 and earned its discoverers the Nobel Prize in Physics. Seahorses are the only animals where the male becomes pregnant. The female deposits her eggs into the male's pouch, where he fertilizes and carries them until they hatch. A single male can give birth to up to 2,000 babies at once. The average cloud contains approximately 500 metric tons of water. Despite this significant weight, clouds float because the water is distributed among billions of tiny droplets spread over a large volume. The upward movement of warm air keeps these droplets suspended. There are more synapses in the human brain than there are stars in our galaxy. Your brain contains approximately 100 trillion synaptic connections, compared to the Milky Way's 200 to 400 billion stars. This complex network underlies all your thoughts, memories, and experiences. A photon of light experiences no time at all. From the photon's perspective, due to the effects of special relativity, it arrives at its destination the instant it is created, regardless of how far it travels. Only from an outside observer's perspective does light appear to take time to reach its destination. The pressure inside a champagne bottle is approximately 3 times the pressure in a car tire. This pressure is generated by carbon dioxide produced during the secondary fermentation process. When released suddenly, the cork can reach speeds of approximately 50 kilometers per hour. Humans are the only animals that produce emotional tears. While other animals produce tears to lubricate and protect their eyes, only humans cry as an emotional response. The composition of emotional tears is actually different from tears produced by irritation. The Amazon rainforest is home to approximately 10% of all species on Earth. New species are discovered there regularly, with scientists estimating that many more remain undiscovered. The forest contains approximately 390 billion individual trees, representing approximately 16,000 different species. A day on Jupiter lasts only about 10 hours. Despite being the largest planet in our solar system, Jupiter rotates faster than any other planet. This rapid rotation causes the planet to bulge at its equator, making it noticeably wider than it is tall. The heaviest organism on Earth is a fungus in Oregon that weighs approximately 6,000 tons. This honey fungus spreads through the root systems of trees, slowly killing them over time. It has been growing for an estimated 2,400 years. Your stomach acid is strong enough to dissolve zinc. The hydrochloric acid in your stomach has a pH between 1 and 3, making it highly corrosive. The mucus lining of your stomach must be constantly renewed to prevent the acid from digesting your own tissues. There are more possible permutations of a standard deck of playing cards than atoms on Earth. The number of ways to arrange 52 cards is approximately 8 times 10 to the 67th power. This means that every time you shuffle a deck thoroughly, you are almost certainly creating an arrangement that has never existed before. The tallest tree ever measured was a redwood named Hyperion, standing at approximately 116 meters. This tree is so tall that water must travel for over a month to reach from its roots to its highest leaves. The exact location of Hyperion is kept secret to protect it from damage. A sneeze cannot occur during sleep because the neurons responsible for triggering sneezes are also suppressed during sleep. If an irritant is strong enough to cause a sneeze response, it will first wake you up, and then you will sneeze. The longest anyone has ever stayed awake under scientific observation is approximately 11 days. Randy Gardner set this record in 1964 at age 17. While he suffered no lasting ill effects, he experienced significant cognitive impairment, mood changes, and hallucinations during the experiment. Mercury has no atmosphere to retain heat, so temperatures on its dark side can drop to negative 170 degrees Celsius, while the sun-facing side can reach over 400 degrees Celsius. This represents one of the largest temperature variations of any body in our solar system. The strongest muscle in the human body relative to its size is the masseter, which controls jaw movement. It can exert a force of up to 90 kilograms on the molars. This strength is necessary for chewing tough foods over a lifetime. A candle flame contains approximately 1 million microscopic diamonds. These tiny carbon particles form as the wax burns, but only exist for a fraction of a second before being oxidized to carbon dioxide. Scientists discovered this phenomenon using specialized laser analysis. The fastest wind ever recorded in our solar system occurs on Neptune, where wind speeds can exceed 2,000 kilometers per hour. These fierce winds blow in the opposite direction of the planet's rotation, a phenomenon not yet fully understood by scientists. Your body produces approximately 25 million new cells every second. Most of these are red blood cells, which have a lifespan of approximately 120 days. Your body must constantly produce new cells to replace those that die and are eliminated. The longest river that flows entirely within one country is the Yangtze in China, at approximately 6,300 kilometers. It is the third longest river in the world overall and drains approximately 1/5 of China's land area. A praying mantis can rotate its head 180 degrees. It is the only insect capable of this range of motion. This ability helps it track prey and watch for predators without moving its body. The first vaccination was developed by Edward Jenner in 1796 using cowpox to prevent smallpox. Jenner noticed that milkmaids who had contracted cowpox seemed immune to smallpox. The word vaccination comes from vacca, the Latin word for cow. There are approximately 3 trillion trees on Earth, roughly 400 trees for every person. However, this number is declining by approximately 10 billion trees per year due to deforestation. Scientists estimate the planet has lost nearly half its trees since human civilization began. A person at rest takes approximately 12 to 20 breaths per minute. Over the course of a day, this amounts to approximately 17,000 to 30,000 breaths. Each breath exchanges approximately 500 milliliters of air in and out of your lungs. The highest cliff in the solar system is Verona Rupes on Miranda, a moon of Uranus. This cliff is approximately 20 kilometers high, over 10 times the depth of the Grand Canyon. Due to Miranda's low gravity, a rock drop from the top would take about 12 minutes to reach the bottom. Electric eels are not actually eels. They are more closely related to catfish and carp. These fish can generate electric shocks of up to 860 volts, enough to stun a horse. They use specialized cells called electrocytes to produce this electricity. The longest word in any major dictionary is pneumoultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis at 45 letters. It refers to a lung disease caused by inhaling very fine silica dust. However, this word was coined specifically to be the longest word and is rarely used in practice. A group of owls is called a parliament. This terminology dates back to C.S. Lewis's work, where owls were portrayed as wise advisors. Other collective nouns for owls include a wisdom, a stare, and a hooting. Your body contains enough carbon to make approximately 9,000 pencils. Carbon is the fourth most abundant element in the human body after oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen. It forms the backbone of all organic molecules essential for life. The Milky Way galaxy is on a collision course with the Andromeda galaxy. The two galaxies are approaching each other at approximately 120 kilometers per second and will merge in approximately 4.5 billion years. Despite this collision, it is unlikely that any individual stars will actually collide due to the vast distances between them. A teaspoon of soil contains more living organisms than there are people on Earth. This teeming microcosm includes billions of bacteria, millions of fungi, thousands of protozoa, and hundreds of nematodes. These organisms play crucial roles in decomposition and nutrient cycling. The longest snake ever recorded was a reticulated python measuring approximately 10 meters. These snakes are found throughout Southeast Asia and can weigh over 130 kilograms. They are constrictors that suffocate their prey by coiling around it. A rainbow seen from an airplane can form a complete circle. From the ground, we only see half of the rainbow because the horizon cuts off the lower half. From high altitudes, observers can sometimes see the full 360-degree arc. The first message sent over the internet was sent in 1969 between computers at UCLA and Stanford. The message was supposed to be the word login, but the system crashed after transmitting just 2 letters, making low the first internet message. Your eyes can distinguish approximately 500 shades of gray. This sensitivity to subtle differences in brightness helps you navigate low-light environments and perceive depth and texture. Digital cameras typically have much lower grayscale sensitivity than human eyes. The largest desert on Earth is actually Antarctica. A desert is defined by low precipitation rather than high temperatures, and Antarctica receives less than 51 millimeters of precipitation per year. The Sahara is the largest hot desert. Bananas are berries, but strawberries are not. Botanically, a berry develops from a single ovary and has seeds embedded in the flesh. Strawberries are actually accessory fruits, with the seeds on the outside. By this definition, avocados, grapes, and kiwis are also berries. The tongue is the only muscle in the human body attached at only one end. This unique anatomy allows the tongue to perform the complex movements required for speech, chewing, and swallowing. The tongue is actually made up of 8 separate muscles working together. Light from the sun takes approximately 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach Earth. This means you always see the sun as it was 8 minutes ago. If the sun were to suddenly vanish, we would continue to see it and feel its gravity for 8 minutes before noticing anything wrong. The largest living structure on Earth is the Great Barrier Reef, stretching over 2,300 kilometers along the coast of Australia. It is made up of nearly 3,000 individual reef systems and hundreds of islands. The reef can be seen from space. A grain of sand contains approximately 44 billion atoms. Despite this enormous number, atoms are so small that a grain of sand is still composed of mostly empty space. If you could remove all the empty space from the atoms in your body, you would be smaller than a grain of salt. Cleopatra lived closer in time to the moon landing than to the construction of the Great Pyramid. The pyramids were built around 2560 BCE, while Cleopatra lived from 69 to 30 BCE. The moon landing occurred in 1969 CE, making Cleopatra closer to the space age by approximately 500 years. There are more possible iterations of a game of Go than there are atoms in the observable universe. The game board is larger than chess, and there are more possible moves at each turn. Estimates suggest there are more than 10 to the 170th possible games. Your nose can remember approximately 50,000 different scents. This remarkable ability is made possible by approximately 400 different types of olfactory receptors, each capable of detecting multiple different molecular shapes. The longest nonstop flight by a bird was recorded by a bar-tailed godwit that flew approximately 11,000 kilometers from Alaska to New Zealand without rest. The journey took approximately 9 days. During this time, the bird did not eat, drink, or sleep. A single human blood cell takes approximately 60 seconds to complete one full circuit through your body. It must pass through the heart twice during this journey, once to the lungs to pick up oxygen and once to the rest of the body to deliver it. The oldest living individual tree is a bristlecone pine named Methuselah, which is approximately 4,850 years old. This tree was already ancient when the Egyptian pyramids were being built. Its exact location in California's White Mountains is kept secret for its protection. Rubber bands last longer when refrigerated. Heat causes the polymers in rubber to break down faster. Storing rubber bands in the refrigerator can significantly extend their useful life by slowing this degradation process. The surface area of human lungs, if spread out flat, would cover approximately 70 square meters, roughly the size of a tennis court. This large surface area is created by the approximately 300 million tiny air sacs called alveoli, where gas exchange occurs. Venus is the only planet that spins clockwise when viewed from above its north pole. All other planets spin counterclockwise. Scientists believe this unusual rotation may have been caused by a massive collision early in the planet's history. A flea can accelerate faster than a space shuttle during launch. When jumping, fleas experience approximately 100 times the force of gravity. They achieve this remarkable feat using a spring-like mechanism in their legs that stores and releases energy. The average person produces enough saliva in their lifetime to fill 2 swimming pools. Saliva plays crucial roles in digestion, dental health, and taste perception. Your mouth produces approximately 1 to 2 liters of saliva per day. Pluto's heart-shaped region is larger than Texas. Officially named Tombaugh Regio after Pluto's discoverer, this feature is covered with nitrogen ice and is one of the most distinctive features visible on the dwarf planet's surface. The longest time a person has been known to survive without food is over a year. In 1965, a severely obese man underwent a medically supervised fast for 382 days, losing over 100 kilograms. This is not recommended and was done under strict medical supervision. Your brain generates enough electricity to power a small light bulb. The electrical activity of approximately 86 billion neurons working together produces about 20 watts of power. This energy is used for thinking, processing sensory information, and controlling your body. The first computer virus was created in 1983 as an experiment. Fred Cohen demonstrated the concept at a security seminar by creating a program that could copy itself onto other programs. He coined the term computer virus to describe self-replicating programs. A colony of bees produces approximately 36 kilograms of honey per year. The average bee produces only about 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in its entire lifetime. This means approximately 60,000 bees work together to produce a single kilogram of honey. The deepest known living fish was found at approximately 8,300 meters in the Mariana Trench. This snailfish has adapted to the immense pressure, which is over 800 times greater than at the surface. Its body is gelatinous, with no swim bladder. A jiffy is an actual unit of measurement in physics, defined as the time it takes light to travel 1 centimeter in a vacuum. This works out to approximately 33.3 picoseconds, or 33 trillionths of a second. The world's oldest known joke dates back approximately 4,000 years to ancient Sumeria. It was a crude joke about flatulence, suggesting that bathroom humor has been popular throughout human history. The joke was found written on a tablet from about 1900 BCE. Your fingernails grow approximately 4 times faster than your toenails. Fingernails grow at about 3 to 4 millimeters per month, while toenails grow at about 1 millimeter. The nails on your dominant hand also tend to grow slightly faster. The total length of your circulatory system, including all arteries, veins, and capillaries, would stretch approximately 100,000 kilometers if laid end to end. This is enough to circle the Earth more than twice at the equator. Honey bees must fly approximately 88,000 kilometers and visit 2 million flowers to produce just 1 kilogram of honey. A single bee will visit between 50 and 100 flowers during a single foraging trip. The shortest war in history lasted only 38 to 45 minutes. It occurred in 1896 between Britain and the Sultanate of Zanzibar. The brief conflict ended when British naval ships bombarded the Sultan's palace. An average cumulus cloud weighs approximately 500,000 kilograms. Despite this significant mass, clouds float because the water droplets are spread over a large volume and are supported by rising warm air currents. The first email with an attachment was sent in 1992. Before this, files had to be converted to text format and copied into the body of the email. The development of MIME protocol allowed files to be attached separately. A person's eyes are always the same size from birth, but noses and ears continue growing throughout life. This is why babies' eyes often appear proportionally larger than adults' eyes. The world's largest flower, the Rafflesia arnoldea, can grow up to 1 meter in diameter and weigh up to 11 kilograms. It is found in the rainforests of Southeast Asia and is known for its pungent odor of rotting flesh. Lightning strikes the Earth approximately 8 million times per day. That works out to about 100 strikes per second somewhere on the planet. Most of these strikes occur in tropical regions where warm, moist air creates ideal conditions for thunderstorms. The oldest known musical instrument is a flute made from a vulture bone, approximately 40,000 years old. It was discovered in a cave in Germany and shows that early humans had already developed sophisticated musical abilities. Your skeleton completely replaces itself approximately every 10 years through a continuous process of bone resorption and formation. This constant remodeling allows your bones to adapt to the stresses placed on them and repair minor damage. A group of jellyfish is called a smack. These ancient creatures have existed for over 500 million years, predating dinosaurs by approximately 250 million years. They have no brain, heart, or blood. The average cloud moves at approximately 50 kilometers per hour. However, this speed varies greatly depending on altitude and weather conditions. Jet stream clouds can move at over 300 kilometers per hour. There are approximately 100 lightning bolts striking Earth every second. This constant bombardment represents an enormous amount of energy being discharged from the atmosphere. Annually, lightning kills about 2,000 people worldwide. The total amount of salt in the world's oceans would cover all the continents to a depth of approximately 150 meters if spread evenly. This salt comes from the weathering of rocks on land, which releases minerals that are carried to the sea by rivers. A woodpecker can peck up to 20 times per second. Their brains are protected from this constant impact by a thick skull bone, a spongy layer between the brain and skull, and a specialized hyoid bone that wraps around the skull like a seatbelt. These adaptations absorb shock and prevent brain damage. The universe is approximately 13.8 billion years old. This age has been determined by measuring the cosmic microwave background radiation, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang that permeates all of space. Light from the most distant galaxies has been traveling toward us for nearly this entire time. A single raindrop falls at an average speed of approximately 9 meters per second. This terminal velocity is reached when the downward force of gravity is balanced by the upward force of air resistance. Larger drops fall faster than smaller ones. The largest volcano in the solar system is Olympus Mons on Mars. It stands approximately 22 kilometers high, nearly 3 times the height of Mount Everest. The volcano is so large that its base would cover most of France. Human hair grows at a rate of approximately 15 centimeters per year. This means the hair follicles on your head are among the fastest dividing cells in your body. The average person has between 100,000 and 150,000 hair follicles on their scalp. A bolt of lightning can reach temperatures of approximately 30,000 degrees Celsius. This is about 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. The extreme heat causes the air around the bolt to expand rapidly, creating the sound wave we hear as thunder. The fastest land animal is the cheetah, capable of reaching speeds up to 120 kilometers per hour. However, cheetahs can only maintain this speed for about 30 seconds before overheating. They must catch their prey quickly or give up the chase. Water covers approximately 71% of Earth's surface. However, only about 2.5% of this water is fresh water, and most of that is locked up in ice caps and glaciers. Less than 1% of all water on Earth is available for human use. A single hectare of rainforest can contain over 400 different species of trees. This incredible diversity is one reason rainforests are considered the most complex ecosystems on Earth. Scientists estimate that millions of species in these forests remain undiscovered. The human body contains approximately 1 kilogram of bacteria. These microorganisms, collectively known as the microbiome, play essential roles in digestion, immune function, and even mental health. There are more bacterial cells in your body than human cells. Sound travels approximately 4 times faster in water than in air. This is because water molecules are closer together, allowing sound waves to transfer more efficiently. Whales use this property to communicate over distances of hundreds of kilometers. The highest recorded temperature on Earth was 56.7 degrees Celsius in Death Valley, California, on July 10, 1913. At such temperatures, eggs can cook on rocks and rubber becomes soft enough to deform under pressure. A single strand of DNA contains the instructions for building an entire organism. If you could read the genetic code of a human at 1 letter per second, it would take approximately 96 years to read the entire sequence. This information is packed into nearly every cell of your body. Saturn's rings are made primarily of water ice particles, ranging in size from tiny grains to chunks as large as houses. The rings extend up to 400,000 kilometers from the planet's center, but are only about 10 meters thick in most places. A housefly beats its wings approximately 200 times per second. This rapid movement creates the characteristic buzzing sound we associate with flies. Despite their small size, flies are remarkable flyers capable of taking off backwards and performing complex aerial maneuvers. The tallest waterfall in the world is Angel Falls in Venezuela, dropping approximately 979 meters. The falls are so high that much of the water evaporates into mist before reaching the bottom. The falls were named after Jimmy Angel, an American aviator who crash-landed nearby in 1937. Your body produces approximately 200 billion red blood cells every day. These cells live for about 120 days before being broken down and recycled by your spleen. The iron from old red blood cells is carefully salvaged and reused to make new ones. The speed of light is the ultimate speed limit in the universe. Nothing with mass can travel at or faster than light speed. As objects approach light speed, time slows down for them relative to stationary observers, a phenomenon predicted by Einstein's theory of relativity. A single tree can absorb approximately 22 kilograms of carbon dioxide per year. Through photosynthesis, trees convert this carbon dioxide into wood, leaves, and roots while releasing oxygen. A mature forest can store hundreds of tons of carbon per hectare. Dolphins use echolocation to navigate and find food in murky water. They emit clicks at rates of up to 1,000 per second and listen for the echoes that bounce back from objects. This biological sonar is sophisticated enough to detect the size, shape, and texture of objects. The average person's heart beats approximately 100,000 times per day. Over a lifetime, this adds up to approximately 3 billion beats. Each beat pumps about 70 milliliters of blood, meaning your heart moves about 7,000 liters of blood daily. A typical hurricane releases energy equivalent to approximately 200 times the worldwide electricity generation capacity at any given moment. This enormous power comes from the latent heat released when water vapor condenses into rain. The storm converts this energy into wind and waves. Coral polyps are related to jellyfish and sea anemones. These tiny animals secrete calcium carbonate to build the hard structures we recognize as coral reefs. A single coral reef may take thousands of years to form and can support millions of individual creatures. Your liver performs over 500 different functions in your body. It filters blood, produces bile for digestion, stores vitamins and minerals, and detoxifies harmful substances. The liver is also the only organ that can regenerate itself from as little as 25% of its original tissue. The Voyager 1 spacecraft, launched in 1977, is the most distant human-made object from Earth. It is currently over 23 billion kilometers away and takes over 22 hours for its radio signals to reach us. It carries a golden record containing sounds and images of Earth. A dragonfly has nearly 30,000 lenses in each of its compound eyes. This gives it almost 360-degree vision and the ability to detect movement with extraordinary precision. Dragonflies can catch prey in mid-flight with a success rate of over 90%. The Earth's core is as hot as the surface of the sun, reaching temperatures of approximately 5,500 degrees Celsius. This heat comes from the original formation of the planet and from the decay of radioactive elements. It drives the movement of tectonic plates. A blue whale's tongue alone weighs approximately 2,700 kilograms, roughly the weight of an adult elephant. Despite their enormous size, blue whales feed almost exclusively on tiny shrimp-like creatures called krill. A single whale can eat up to 4 tons of krill per day. The fastest object ever made by humans was the Parker Solar Probe, which reached speeds of approximately 692,000 kilometers per hour. At this speed, you could travel from New York to Tokyo in less than 1 minute. There are approximately 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. Each galaxy contains billions of stars, and many of those stars have planets orbiting them. The scale of the universe is truly beyond human comprehension. A gecko's feet are covered with approximately 14,000 cd per square millimeter. These microscopic hair-like structures allow geckos to climb smooth vertical surfaces and even hang upside down on glass. The adhesion is caused by van der Waals forces at the molecular level. The longest recorded earthquake lasted approximately 10 minutes. The 2004 Sumatra earthquake that triggered the devastating Indian Ocean tsunami released energy over an extended period as the fault ruptured along a distance of approximately 1,300 kilometers. Your brain processes images in approximately 13 milliseconds. This incredibly fast processing allows you to recognize faces, read text, and navigate your environment almost instantaneously. The visual cortex at the back of your brain handles most of this processing. Sharks can detect electrical fields generated by other animals through special organs called ampullae of Lorenzini. These jelly-filled pores on their snouts are sensitive enough to detect the heartbeat of a fish buried in sand. This sixth sense helps sharks find prey in murky water. The largest living bird by wingspan is the wandering albatross, which can reach spans of up to 3.7 meters. These birds can glide for hours without flapping their wings, using wind currents to travel thousands of kilometers across the Southern Ocean. Water can exist as a solid, liquid, and gas at the same temperature and pressure. This condition, called the triple point, occurs at approximately 1 degrees Celsius and a pressure of 611 pascals. The triple point of water is used to define the Kelvin temperature scale. The planet Jupiter acts as a cosmic vacuum cleaner, attracting comets and asteroids that might otherwise threaten Earth. Its enormous gravity has captured numerous objects over billions of years. Without Jupiter, life on Earth might have been repeatedly devastated by impacts. Your skin is the largest organ of your body, covering approximately 2 square meters and weighing about 4 kilograms. It serves as a barrier against pathogens, regulates body temperature, and contains millions of nerve endings that allow you to feel touch, pressure, and temperature. The hottest planet in our solar system is Venus, not Mercury, even though Mercury is closer to the Sun. Venus's thick atmosphere of carbon dioxide traps heat through the greenhouse effect, raising surface temperatures to approximately 470 degrees Celsius. A typical cumulus cloud contains about 500 million grams of water, distributed among billions of tiny droplets. Each droplet is so small that it would take approximately 7 billion of them to fill a teaspoon. The drops are held aloft by rising air currents. The longest living vertebrate is the Greenland shark, which can live for over 400 years. Scientists determine their age by analyzing proteins in the shark's eye lenses, which form before birth. Some individuals alive today may have been born during the Renaissance. A single atom is mostly empty space. If an atom were the size of a football stadium, its nucleus would be the size of a marble on the 50-yard line. The electrons would be somewhere in the stands, but they would be far too small to see. The Dead Sea is approximately 10 times saltier than the ocean. This extreme salinity makes it nearly impossible for organisms to survive in its waters. Swimmers float effortlessly on its surface because the dense salt water provides more buoyancy than fresh water. The human eye can detect a single photon of light under ideal conditions. Your retina contains approximately 120 million rod cells that are sensitive to light and approximately 6 million cone cells that detect color. This remarkable sensitivity evolved to help our ancestors survive. Mount Everest is not the tallest mountain on Earth when measured from base to peak. Mauna Kea in Hawaii rises approximately 10,200 meters from its base on the ocean floor, compared to Everest's approximately 8,849 meters above sea level. Your body replaces most of its atoms every 7 to 10 years through the continuous processes of metabolism and cell renewal. The atoms that make up your body today are almost entirely different from those that made up your body a decade ago. A single teaspoon of seawater contains approximately 5 million bacteria and 50 million viruses. Most of these microorganisms are harmless or beneficial, playing essential roles in ocean ecosystems. Marine bacteria are responsible for producing much of the oxygen we breathe. The sun loses approximately 4.3 million tons of mass every second through nuclear fusion. Despite this staggering rate of loss, the sun is so massive that it has enough hydrogen fuel to continue burning for another 5 billion years. Giraffes have the same number of neck vertebrae as humans, just 7. Each vertebra in a giraffe's neck can be over 25 centimeters long. Their long necks evolved to help them reach leaves in tall trees that other herbivores cannot access. Your small intestine is approximately 6 meters long and has a surface area of approximately 250 square meters due to its many folds and villi. This large surface area allows efficient absorption of nutrients from your food. A single colony of leafcutter ants can contain 8 million individuals. These ants farm fungus in underground chambers, feeding it with leaves they cut and carry back to the nest. Their colonies can extend as deep as 8 meters underground. The magnetic field of the Earth extends approximately 65,000 kilometers into space. This field protects us from harmful solar radiation and cosmic rays. It is generated by the motion of molten iron in Earth's outer core. A chameleon's tongue can extend to twice its body length and accelerate faster than a fighter jet. The tongue is powered by a special muscle that stores elastic energy like a spring. When released, the tongue can capture prey in as little as 0.7 seconds. The oldest known fossils are approximately 3.5 billion years old. These ancient microbial structures, found in Western Australia, provide evidence that life emerged relatively early in Earth's history. The planet itself is approximately 4.5 billion years old. Your kidneys filter approximately 180 liters of blood every day. They remove waste products and excess water to produce about 1 to 2 liters of urine. Without your kidneys, toxic substances would quickly build up in your blood. A single thunderstorm can contain more energy than an atomic bomb. This energy is stored in the water vapor that rises and condenses in the storm cloud. The energy is released as wind, rain, lightning, and sometimes hail or tornadoes. The human body is approximately 60% water by weight. This water is essential for virtually every bodily function, from regulating temperature to transporting nutrients. Even mild dehydration can significantly affect cognitive performance. The largest animal ever to have lived on Earth is the blue whale. These magnificent creatures can reach lengths of over 30 meters and weights of up to 170 tons. Their hearts alone can weigh as much as a small car. A single drop of blood contains approximately 5 million red blood cells, 7,000 white blood cells, and 250,000 platelets. These cells work together to transport oxygen, fight infection, and repair damage to your blood vessels. The rings of Saturn are disappearing at a rate that will cause them to vanish completely in about 100 million years. Rain of ice particles from the rings falls into Saturn's atmosphere, attracted by gravity and electromagnetic forces. The fastest computer in the world can perform over 1 billion calculations per second. Despite this incredible speed, the human brain remains more efficient at many tasks, particularly pattern recognition and creative thinking. A caterpillar has more muscles than a human being. While humans have approximately 640 muscles, a caterpillar has about 4,000. Most of these muscles control the caterpillar's many body segments and help it move in its characteristic undulating way. The visible universe contains approximately 10 billion trillion stars. This number is larger than all the grains of sand on all the beaches on Earth. Yet this visible universe may be just a tiny fraction of the total universe. Your nose warms and humidifies the air you breathe before it reaches your lungs. On a cold day, the air temperature can increase by as much as 30 degrees Celsius as it passes through your nasal passages. The mucus lining also filters out particles and pathogens. A single square centimeter of your skin contains approximately 600 sweat glands, 20 blood vessels, and over 1,000 nerve endings. This dense network allows your skin to perform its many functions, from temperature regulation to sensory perception. The longest migration of any animal is undertaken by the Arctic tern, which travels approximately 70,000 kilometers each year. These birds fly from their Arctic breeding grounds to the Antarctic and back, experiencing 2 summers annually. Your brain is capable of generating approximately 70,000 thoughts per day. Most of these thoughts are repetitive, with researchers estimating that up to 95% of our daily thoughts are the same ones we had yesterday. The tallest grass in the world is bamboo, which can grow up to 40 meters tall. Despite its tree-like appearance, bamboo is technically a grass. Some species can grow over a meter per day under optimal conditions. Light from distant galaxies can be millions or billions of years old by the time it reaches Earth. When you look at the Andromeda galaxy, you see it as it was 2.5 million years ago. Looking at the night sky is truly looking back in time. A healthy human heart pumps approximately 5 liters of blood per minute at rest. During intense exercise, this can increase to 25 liters per minute. Over a lifetime, the heart pumps enough blood to fill about 200 Olympic-sized swimming pools. The deepest roots ever measured belonged to a fig tree in South Africa, reaching over 120 meters below the surface. These roots grew deep in search of water during a severe drought. Most tree roots extend only 1 to 3 meters deep. A drop of ocean water contains millions of bacteria and viruses. Most of these microorganisms are essential to ocean ecosystems, breaking down organic matter and recycling nutrients. Some even produce oxygen through photosynthesis. The largest single living thing on Earth is a grove of quaking aspen trees in Utah. Called Pando, this grove consists of approximately 47,000 genetically identical trees sharing a single root system. The entire organism weighs an estimated 6 million kilograms. Your taste buds are replaced approximately every 10 days. Each taste bud contains 50 to 100 taste receptor cells that detect sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami flavors. Children have more taste buds than adults, which is why they often prefer blander foods. The speed at which Earth orbits the Sun is approximately 107,000 kilometers per hour. At this speed, we could travel from New York to Los Angeles in about 80 seconds. Yet we feel no sensation of this motion because everything around us moves together. A single hectare of mature forest produces enough oxygen for approximately 40 people for 1 year. However, forests also consume oxygen through respiration and decomposition. The net oxygen production is much smaller than this figure suggests. The pressure at the deepest point in the ocean is approximately 1,000 times greater than at the surface. At this pressure, styrofoam cups shrink to the size of thimbles. Specialized deep-sea creatures have evolved bodies that function normally under these extreme conditions. Your eyes move approximately 100,000 times per day, making them the most active muscles in your body. Most of these movements are small, rapid shifts called saccades that help your brain construct a complete picture of your surroundings. A single human cell contains approximately 6 billion base pairs of DNA. If the DNA in just one cell were stretched out, it would be about 2 meters long. The DNA in all your cells combined would stretch to the sun and back about 600 times. The largest flower in the world is the Rafflesia arnoldii, which can grow up to 1 meter in diameter. This parasitic plant has no stems, leaves, or roots. It lives inside tropical vines and only becomes visible when it blooms, producing a flower that smells like rotting flesh. A glass of water contains approximately 10 billion water molecules. Each of these molecules consists of 2 hydrogen atoms bonded to 1 oxygen atom. Water's unique properties, including its high surface tension and ability to dissolve many substances, make life possible. The Earth's atmosphere is approximately 480 kilometers thick. However, most of the air we breathe is found in the lowest layer, the troposphere, which extends only about 12 kilometers above sea level. Above this, the air becomes increasingly thin. A single colony of army ants can contain over 20 million individuals. These ants form temporary nests called bivouacs by linking their bodies together. They spend most of their time on the move, searching for prey to feed the colony. The fastest wind speed ever recorded on the surface of a planet in our solar system was on Neptune, where winds can exceed 2,000 kilometers per hour. These incredible winds blow in the opposite direction of the planet's rotation. A single grain of pollen can contain up to 1 million sperm cells. These tiny grains are produced by flowering plants and carried by wind, water, or animals to fertilize other plants. A single ragweed plant can produce 1 billion pollen grains in a season. The temperature at the center of a lightning bolt can exceed 30,000 degrees Celsius. This is approximately 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. The extreme heat causes the air to expand explosively, creating the sound we hear as thunder. A newborn baby has approximately 300 bones. As the child grows, many of these bones fuse together, reducing the total to 206 in an adult. The process of bone fusion continues until around age 25. Your blood vessels dilate and constrict constantly to regulate blood flow and body temperature. If all your blood vessels were laid end to end, they would stretch approximately 100,000 kilometers. Most of this length comes from tiny capillaries. A single lightning bolt can contain up to 1 billion volts of electricity. This enormous voltage is necessary to overcome the resistance of air, which is normally an excellent insulator. The current in a lightning bolt typically lasts only a few milliseconds. Your liver processes approximately 1.5 liters of blood every minute. It removes toxins, metabolizes medications, produces bile, and stores vitamins and minerals. The liver is remarkably resilient and can regenerate from as little as 25% of its original tissue. A humpback whale's song can be heard underwater from over 30 kilometers away. These complex vocalizations can last for hours and are sung primarily by males during breeding season. Each population of humpbacks has its own distinctive song. The largest hailstone ever recorded fell in South Dakota in 2010 and measured approximately 20 centimeters in diameter. It weighed nearly 900 grams. Hailstones this size can cause significant damage to property and pose serious danger to people and animals. Your stomach produces a new layer of mucus every 2 weeks to protect itself from its own digestive acids. Without this protective coating, your stomach would begin to digest itself. The stomach lining is one of the fastest regenerating tissues in your body. A single cubic meter of seawater contains approximately 3,500 milligrams of gold. While this might seem like a lot, extracting this gold is not economically viable. The total amount of gold dissolved in the world's oceans is estimated at 20 million tons. The driest place on Earth is the Atacama Desert in Chile, where some weather stations have never recorded rainfall. The desert is so dry that it has been used as a testing ground for Mars rovers. Some areas receive less than 1 millimeter of rain per year. Your brain uses approximately 20% of the oxygen you breathe, despite making up only about 2% of your body weight. The brain is extremely sensitive to oxygen deprivation. Without oxygen, brain cells begin to die within minutes. A single colony of naked mole rats can contain up to 300 individuals. These unusual rodents are one of only 2 mammal species known to be eusocial, living in colonies with a single breeding queen, like bees or ants. They can also live for over 30 years. The speed of Earth's rotation at the equator is approximately 1,670 kilometers per hour. This rotation creates day and night and influences weather patterns through the Coriolis effect. The rotation is gradually slowing due to tidal friction from the moon. A healthy adult produces approximately 1 to 1.5 liters of saliva per day. Saliva is essential for digestion, as it contains enzymes that begin breaking down food in your mouth. It also helps protect your teeth from decay. Your fingernails are made of the same material as animal hooves and claws. This material, keratin, is a tough protein that also forms your hair and the outer layer of your skin. Fingernails grow from a root located under the skin at the base of the nail. A single bee colony can contain up to 60,000 bees during the summer. The colony is organized around a single queen, who is the only female that reproduces. Worker bees, all of which are female, perform all the tasks necessary to maintain the hive. Your heart creates enough pressure to squirt blood approximately 9 meters. This powerful pump beats approximately 100,000 times per day, pushing blood through approximately 100,000 kilometers of blood vessels. It is the hardest working muscle in your body. A single cubic centimeter of water contains approximately 33 billion trillion molecules. These molecules are constantly moving and bouncing off each other, even when the water appears completely still. This molecular motion is the basis of temperature. The loudest sound ever recorded was the 1883 eruption of Krakatoa, which was heard nearly 5,000 kilometers away in Australia. The pressure wave from the explosion circled the Earth 4 times. The eruption killed over 36,000 people. Your brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons, each connected to thousands of others through synapses. The total number of connections in your brain is estimated at over 100 trillion. This complex network underlies all your thoughts, memories, and behaviors. A single drop of water takes approximately 90 days to travel through the entire water cycle. During this journey, it may evaporate from the ocean, form part of a cloud, fall as rain, flow through rivers, and return to the ocean. This cycle has been running for billions of years. The tallest mountain on any planet in our solar system is Olympus Mons on Mars, standing approximately 22 kilometers high. Its base covers an area about the size of France. Despite its enormous size, its slopes are so gentle that standing at its base, you could not tell you were on a mountain. Your body is composed of approximately 37 trillion cells. Each of these cells carries out thousands of chemical reactions every second. Together, they form the tissues and organs that keep you alive and allow you to experience the world. The element oxygen is the most abundant element in the Earth's crust, making up approximately 46% by mass. Silicon comes in second at approximately 28%. Together, these two elements form the silicate minerals that make up most rocks. A bolt of lightning discharges approximately 1 to 5 billion joules of energy in less than a second. However, only about 1% of this energy reaches the ground. The rest is dissipated as heat and light in the atmosphere. The average person spends approximately 6 years of their life dreaming. Dreams occur primarily during REM sleep, which happens several times each night. Despite extensive research, scientists still do not fully understand why we dream. The Pacific Ocean is so large that it contains